Good morning and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you and welcome to DOYU International Holdings Limited's second quarter 2021 earnings conference call. At this time, all participants are in listen-only mode. We will be hosting a question and answer session after management's prepared remarks. I will now turn the call over to the first speaker today, Mr. Mingming Su, Chief Strategy Officer at DOYU. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our second quarter 2021 earnings call. This is Mingming Su, DOYU's Chief Strategy Officer. Joining us today are Mr. Shaojie Chen, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, and Mr. Hao Cao, Vice President of Finance. You can refer to our second quarter 2021 financial results on our IR website at ir.douyu.com. You can also check a replay of this call when it becomes available in a few hours on our IR website. Before we start, please note that this call may contain forward-looking statements made pursuant to the safe harbor provisions for the Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. These forward-looking statements are based on management's current expectations and observations that involve known and unknown risks, uncertainties, and other factors not under the company's control, which may cause actual results, performance, or achievements of the company to be materially different from the results, performance, or expectations implied by these forward-looking statements. All forward-looking statements are expressly qualified in their entirety by the cautionary statement, risk factors, and details of the company's filing with the SEC. The company undertakes no duty to revise or update any forward-looking statements for selected events or circumstances after the date of this conference call. I will now speak on behalf of our Chairman and CEO, Mr. Shaojie Chen. During the second quarter of 2021, our overall performance remained stable as we continued to upgrade our business systems. Total net revenues for the quarter reached RMB 2.34 billion, while quarterly average paying user count reached 7.2 million. During the second quarter, our average mobile MAUs increased by 3.9% year-over-year to 60.7 million. MAU growth was mainly driven by two factors. First, we attracted new esports users and galvanized the return of older users through large-scale esports tournament broadcasts, which included major events such as our LPL Spring Grand Final 2021, LOL Mid-Season Invitational, and KPL Spring Grand Final 2021. Second, we refined operations by enhancing our collaborations for hit games, including LOL and Honor of Kings, while exploring partnerships with additional game developers to introduce more mid- and long-tail games and strengthen operations for new games. For Naraka Blackpoint, a major hit game launched in the quarter, we collaborated with its game developer to develop and launch various promotional content and events starting in the testing stage. These efforts have gradually attracted high-quality players to our platform. Now, turning to our content updates. During the quarter, we continued to expand our content ecosystem, both upstream and downstream, to cover the entire esports industry value chain. We also wrapped up our efforts to construct a highly comprehensive content library focusing on various game genres. By broadcasting and self-producing esports tournaments and events in various formats, we continued to develop more high-quality esports content. At the same time, we also continued to actively sponsor and invest in a number of top esports teams. During the quarter, we broadcasted over 50 large-scale esports tournaments and self-produced more than 80 high-quality esports events. Among them, we leveraged LOL preseason challenger matches to actively cultivate new high-quality streamers and organized matches between streamers and young training teams to enrich the content on our platform during the off-season for premier esports events. In addition, the LPL Summer 2021 tournament, which is the highest level LOL professional tournament in China, kicked off in June. We broadcast the tournament through our platform in concert with other related self-produced programs for complete live streaming coverage of the event from start to finish. For our PEL S1 tournament, the highest level professional league for Peacekeeper, we rolled out a series of promotional events such as live watch parties for tournament match, anchored by popular live streamers to further improve user engagement. Meanwhile, we continued to fuel the development of our content library by introducing additional game developers to make our content library more comprehensive and cover additional game genres. Further, we utilized esports tournament broadcasts to further enrich coverage for our blockbuster games. During the quarter, we hosted over 20 tournaments for games of various genres, including LOL, Honor of Kings, and Peacekeeper. Second, we utilized the IP of popular streamers to create more high-quality PGC content and meet the diverse content demand of users. Finally, we further enhanced user engagement based on their interest in high-end strategy and gameplay by delivering content related to real-time strategy and advice from streamers and high-ranking professionals on matching in-game inscription and equipment selection. We also implemented systematic marketing programs for new, mid, and long-tail games. These campaigns are multi-step processes, which include the development and delivery of promotional content and events based on individual game life cycles. We began cooperating with game developers prior to the launch of beta testing for new games to foster anticipation and excitement among target consumers. We utilize the influence of our top streamers to increase brand awareness for these new games. Meanwhile, by recruiting new streamers for games in advance, we are able to quickly fill the gap in game content after the game's official launch. Furthermore, we actively cooperated with game developers to launch a series of events to foster development of engaging video content. Through the broadcast of this content, more potential players are attracted to viewing gaming broadcasts. Additionally, our platform generates game-related hot topics, introduces customized programs and content to promote the game, and allows players to have interactions with KOLs, enabling us to attract new users and improve user stickiness. Now, turning to monetization. In the second quarter, our quarterly paying users were 7.2 million, with an ARPPU of RMB 303. The slight year-over-year decrease in ARPPU was primarily due to abnormally high user activity and ARPPU during the second quarter of 2020, related to stay-at-home orders from the pandemic. During the quarter, user behavior normalized to pre-pandemic levels. Through our operating strategy and execution, we continue to focus on improvements in user engagement and paying user consumption. Going forward, we will work to further optimize our products, diversify our paid user scenarios, and enhance our overall paid user experience to achieve a healthy ARPPU growth rate. Finally, we remain committed to refining our operations across different segments, which should help to further boost segment efficiency. We are also making good progress on the R&D front. During the quarter, we launched the AV1 decoding technology, becoming the first platform in China to support AV1 decoding in live streaming. Compared with our previous decoding technology, AV1 has lower bandwidth costs and can eliminate lag while maintaining the same video quality. In terms of product function innovation, our platform upgrades revolve around the evolution in our game content. Starting from live streaming, we have expanded into produced video and graphic content. With our popular and new game segment as a primary subject, we have forged an integrated game segment that combines live streaming, videos, visual graphics, friendly guides, interactive communities, and in-game gifts. We have also adapted our platform's search function to support these multiple forms of content. By providing support for searching and accessing historical live streams, videos, and visual graphic content on our platform, we can now better satisfy users' search queries for specific game content. We also continued to fortify our foothold overseas. During the quarter, we continued to increase our investment in overseas market. In particular, I would like to highlight our achievements in Japan. According to the latest app earning statistics, Mildom is one of the mainstream video game live streaming apps in Japan and maintains an industry-leading user base in the country. In terms of future strategy, we will continue to strengthen the monetization capabilities of Mildom in order to further solidify its market position in Japan, and also expect to achieve better economies of scale in Japan. In summary, during the second quarter of 2021, we leveraged our platform advantages to achieve success on numerous fronts. we expanded our multi-dimensional collaborations with more game developers. We also provide the gamers and viewers with comprehensive content offerings combining live streaming, videos, visual graphics, and an interactive community. Looking ahead, we plan to continue executing our product, streaming, and content strategy to further augment our monetization capabilities and improve our overall financial performance. With that, I will now turn the call to our Vice President of Finance, Mr. Hao Cao, to go through the details of our financial performance in the second quarter.
Thank you, Mingming. Hello, everyone. Total net revenues in the second quarter of 2021 were RMB 2.34 billion. Live streaming revenues were RMB 2.18 billion, compared with RMB 2.32 billion in the same period of 2020. Advertising and other revenues were RMB 158.7 million, compared with RMB 188.3 million in the same period of 2020. The year-over-year decrease in live streaming revenues was mostly due to the abnormally high user activity and up in the prior year period caused by the stay-at-home orders during the pandemic. In the second quarter of this year, as the pandemic was gradually brought under control in China, user behavior had largely normalized, reverting to pre-pandemic levels. This decline was partially offset by our efforts to improve the spending by our core paying users. The year-over-year decline in advertising and other revenues was mainly due to the fact that game advertisers increased their marketing budgets in the second quarter of last year due to the pandemic and the related stay-at-home measures. As a result, our overall advertising revenue in the second quarter of last year reached a relatively high level. During the quarter, as the pandemic was continuously brought under control in China, and the number of hit games featured on platforms was reduced, our game-related advertising revenue decreased accordingly. Cost of revenues in the second quarter of 2021 increased by 2.3% to RMB 2.03 billion from RMB 1.99 billion in the same period of 2020. More specifically, revenue share fees and content costs increased by 3% to RMB 1.81 billion from RMB 1.75 billion in the same period of 2020. This increase was mainly due to increased investment in overseas streamers as we continue to expand overseas markets, higher licensing costs due to more investment in esports tournament broadcasting rights, and additional investment in proprietary content production. Bandwidth costs in the second quarter of 2021 decreased by 3.9% to RMB 161.8 million from RMB 168.4 million in the same period of 2020. This decrease was mainly due to the successful execution of our ongoing in-house technology upgrades, which led to higher bandwidth efficiency and lower bandwidth usage costs during the period. Gross profit in the second quarter of 2021 was RMB 306.5 million, compared with RMB 522.9 million in the same period of 2020. Gross margin in the second quarter of 2021 was 13.1%, compared with 20.8% in the same period of 2020. This decrease was primarily due to the decrease in revenues, resulting in an increase in revenue sharing fees and content costs as a percentage of total net revenues. Sales and marketing expenses in the second quarter of 2021 were RMB 295 million, compared with RMB 142.1 million in the same period of 2020. This increase was mainly attributable to the increased costs from utilizing additional promotional channels for user acquisition and continuous spending on both official and self-produced live esports tournaments and corresponding sponsorship fees as the pandemic was gradually brought under control in China. Research and development expenses in the second quarter of 2021 were RMB 123 million, which represented an increase of 29.6% from RMB 94.9 million in the same period of 2020. This increase was primarily due to additional investments in technical personnel as we continued our overseas expansion and technology infrastructure upgrade to enhance user experience. General and administrative expenses in the second quarter of 2021 were RMB 102.6 million, compared with RMB 79.5 million in the same period of 2020, primarily due to the increase in professional service fees during the quarter. Adjusted operating loss in the second quarter of 2021, which adds back share-based compensation expenses, was RMB 165.1 million, compared with an adjusted operating income of RMB 272.7 million in the same period of 2020. Net loss in the second quarter of 2021 was RMB 181.7 million, compared with a net income of RMB 319.3 million in the same period of 2020. Adjusted net loss in the second quarter of 2021, which excludes share-based compensation expenses, share of income in equity method investments, and impairment loss of investments, was RMB 145.1 million, compared with an adjusted net income of RMB 322.9 million in the same period of 2020. For the second quarter of 2021, basic and diluted net loss per ADS were RMB 0.45 and RMB 0.45, respectively, while adjusted basic and diluted net loss per ADS were RMB 0.35 and RMB 0.35, respectively. Going forward, we will continue exploring new methods of improving our monetization capability and efficiency. Additionally, as we continue to grow, we will focus on further utilizing our operating leverage to fuel the sustainable development of our platform. This concludes our prepared remarks for today. Operator, we are now ready to take questions.
We will now begin the question and answer session. To ask a question, press star then 1 on a touch-tone phone. If you are using a speakerphone, please pick up your handset before pressing the keys. To withdraw your question, please press star then 2. And the first question comes from Li Zhang with Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Please go ahead.
Hi， 管理层晚上好，谢谢接受我的提问。然后呢，我主要是想看一下我们游戏直播这一块一个是在2季度有没有一些表现的比较好的游戏可以给我们分享一下。然后如果从下半年来看的话，有没有一些特别值得关注的新游戏呢？然后另外一个是想看一下这个传统的电竞游戏这一块不知道传统的这几个电竞的游戏在我们平台上的整体的表现，像用户或者是观看量，在过去几个月的趋势怎么样？还有未来的话，我们怎么看这个整个传统的电竞游戏的一个大的趋势呢？谢谢我自己翻译一下。Thanks management for taking my question. Two questions here. First is, can you give us more color on the new game that have good performance in second quarter? And if we look at into second half, any new game that we can expect? Secondly, I want to hear your opinion on the traditional esports game. What is the trend of those games in terms of time span or user that you can share? Also, how do we look at the trend of those hardcore esports games in the future? Thank you.
Thank you. Let me answer these two questions. According to our platform data, new games such as Naraka, Flashpoint, and CFHD, Crossfire HD, have performed well since the second quarter of this year. From June to July, we observed that the overall live streaming volume and user engagement for Naraka Flashpoint increased by more than 200%. We have continued to generate PGC videos and built our content ecosystem for this new game. Such efforts have played an important role in promoting these games and elevating our users' platform stickiness. Based on expected the launch schedule for games in the second half of this year, we expect that new catalysts for the gaming market will include LOL Mobile, Pokemon Unite, and Justice Online. Prior to the launch of new games, we plan to cooperate with game developers to foster anticipation and excitement among targeted consumers and to deliver sufficient and rich game-related content for gamers and users on our platform. And the second question, the majority of our top 10 platform games are from traditional esports game genres, such as MOBA and FPS, which are characterized by long life cycles and high entertainment quality. According to our platform data, our top 10 game genres have remained largely similar in the past several quarters. The data also suggests that users' time spent on non-top 10 games over the past 2 quarters has gradually increased compared to the same period a year ago. We believe the primary reason behind this trend was the strategic upgrade of our platform. In the past, as a pure B2C platform, we used to only offer game-related live streaming content to gamers and users. However, starting from this year, we have focused more on non-esports games. We have tried to create a separate segment for each new game on our platform. We are also cooperating with game developers to develop more comprehensive plans and quality content for game promotion through live streaming, video, and graphic text content, as well as our user communities. Such as in terms of live streaming, we can leverage our top streamers to foster anticipation and excitement among targeted consumers prior to the launch of new games. By working with game developers, we can create multiple PGC videos and increase our number of promotional channels. For user communities, we can invite KOLs to have real-time interactions with our users, thus generating more related hot topics and engaging content. As we continue to execute this product strategy, we expect that the time spent by users on non-esports game segments will increase, and our platform content will become more diversified in the long run. Thank you.
you. Very helpful.
The next question comes from Yiwen Zhang with China Renaissance. Please go ahead.
谢谢。管理层晚上好，我这边也是2个问题要请教一下。第一个就是刚刚我们提到，就2季度自制赛事那边有超过80场，然后据我们观察，像今年整个赛事版权的一个价格也有所提升嘛，就想请教一下，是不是抖音那边会加强一些自制赛事的投入，应对这么一个版权价格上升的这么一个趋势呢？然后第二个问题是关于就是新游戏准备那边的，刚刚提到几款下半年可能发的大游戏嘛，然后想问一下，比如说像英雄联盟手游，我们目前主播招募情况怎么样？然后我们主要通过怎么样的方式来进行一个新游戏分区的一个头部主播储备呢？然后我自己翻译一下。Thanks for taking my question. The first question is regarding the self-produced tournament. In the prepared remarks, you mentioned there were over 80 self-produced tournaments, and we also know that this year there was an upward trend in the pricing of the license tournaments. Does that mean DOYU will step up the self-produced content investment in order to tackle the increasing licensing cost trend? And then secondly, on the new game preparation, you mentioned a few in the previous question. For example, the League of Legends Mobile. How is our latest progress on the streamer recruitment? And in what way will we build up the top cohort streamers in the new game for the new game preparation? Thank you.
是这样，就是说在刚刚提到的第一个问题的话，就是在这个电竞版权的这个方面的话，今年确实在整体的这个版权上面经过了一轮的这个提升，因为今年是一个特别就是特别转折的一年，然后有很多这种大的版权在进行一个比较长时间的这样一个周期的这样一个定价，然后电影产业呢也目前呢已经相对比较成熟，最主要的版权在未来的几年里面相对来说已经比较稳定。另一个呢，在自制赛事上面一直是比如斗鱼平台在内容战略上面重要的组成部分，然后包括了比如说斗鱼的黄金大奖赛，然后DNF全明星赛等在平台上都取得了一个优秀的这个数据和成绩。尤其是斗鱼的黄金大奖赛已经累计举办了第11季，已经成为了斗鱼自办赛事的重要平台。未来我们将会持续加强自制赛事举行，并且利用平台目前有的这个主播资源和视频作者资源，以及一些非电影赛事加强的 PEC 内容的自制。然后对于英雄联盟的这个手游的准备的话，因为英雄联盟之前有过一定时间的延期，所以我们之前进入的时间是非常早的，而且也做了一个非常在这个相对长周期里面做了非常充分的准备。在内容的这个获取和有头部主播的培养上面，目前斗鱼都是全面领先的。目前主要的这个头部主播基本上都在斗鱼进行直播，我们也是非常期待未来英雄联盟手游在国内的一些新的表现，等待着他们的公测的这个实现。
And that will be translated. So basically this year we have witnessed an increase in licensing costs for our esports tournament broadcasting right across the industry. So however, we expect the licensing costs for the broadcasting right of major esports tournaments to remain relatively stable over the next couple of years. And our expectation is based on our observation of current market conditions and the fact that the esports industry has reached a pretty mature stage of development. And in addition, self-produced tournament content has been a pretty important part of our content strategy as well. And the self-produced tournaments such as the Golden Grand Tournament and the DNF All-Star, they both have a produced outstanding results on our platform. And especially the DOYU Golden Grand Tournament, which has been held for around 11 seasons already, and now has become one of the most important brands of DOYU as well. And going forward, we will definitely continue to bolster the organization of our own esports events and focus more on the generation of PGC content for non-esport games. And we are pretty confident that we will be able to leverage our enormous amount of quality streamer and video creator resource to execute this strategy.
Thank you.
Next question, please.
The next question comes from Alex Peng with Morgan Stanley. Please go ahead.
谢谢管理层接受我的提问。我有2个问题，第一个是关于本季度这个收入分成和内容成本的趋势，大概是怎样的一个趋势？包括这个签约费分成、版权采购等等，请问这个未来我们应该怎么看这个收入分成这个成本的这部分？在这个收入有一点点下滑的情况下，我第2个问题是关于这个季度我们没有及时披露这个 PC 端的 MAU， 请问这个是主要是什么原因？如果我们去从的话，这个PC 端的用户其实大概有多少啊？谢谢。I have 2 questions. First question is regarding the revenue share and content cost trend in second quarter, including the different components, including the sign-up bonus, revenue share, and content procurement costs, etc. And how should we forecast this segment costs in future, given we have a little bit of revenue decline? My second question is related to the PC MAU number. This time we have not disclosed the PC MAU number. What is the reason behind this? And if we remove the duplicated users, how many PC users do we actually have? Thank you very much.
About the first question on revenue sharing costs, we will maintain our 50-50 revenue split sharing policy for our platform and streamers, as well as for our platform and talent agencies. During promotional periods, we also offer certain incentives to streamers and talent agencies. Therefore, while the overall revenue sharing ratio may fluctuate slightly quarter-over-quarter, it will also remain stable in general. The increase in content costs in the second quarter of 2021 was primarily associated with higher licensing costs and increased investment in self-produced programs. The increase in licensing costs was due to more investment in esports tournament broadcasting rights across the industry, starting from this year. As tournament density becomes higher, we expect licensing costs in the second half of this year to increase slightly from the first half of this year. For our self-produced programs, as we invest more in programs to produce PGC content to support the upgrade of the content and functions of our new businesses, we expect the associated costs to continue increasing at a moderate pace throughout the second half of this year.
Let me answer your second question. First, our PC MAUs have remained relatively stable within the range of 110 to 130 million. Since our IPO in July of 2019, the quarterly fluctuations were mainly driven by such factors as our periodic collaborations with PC game developers. In addition, the revenue contribution from live streaming on our PC portal has stabilized over the past several quarters. In the long run, we expect our mobile portal to be the primary driver for attracting users and generating revenue. As a result, we have decided to stop disclosing our PC MAUs starting from this quarter. With user growth for non-esports blockbuster games still relatively under-penetrated, we believe there is plenty of opportunities in the mobile market. In the future, We will deepen our collaborations with non-esports game developers to better cultivate user spending habits and create a more welcoming content ecosystem for our users. Thank you.
The next question comes from Daniel Shen with JP Morgan. Please go ahead.
晚上好，管理层。我有2个问题啊。第一个问题是关于我们收入这块的。我们看到2季度其实我们收入是同比有下降的。这个管理层能不能多谈一谈这个背后的一个原因？然后我们是怎么看这个下半年的我们直播这边的付费用户数和这个 ARPU 的趋势？然后第二个是就是现在斗鱼其实账上还是有超过10亿美金的这种净现金，就想问一下这个预期我们去怎么使用这一部分的资金？谢谢。I will translate myself. My first question is on the revenue side. We actually see that the second quarter revenue has declined on year-over-year basis. Could management provide some more color on the rationale behind, and what's the paying user and ARPU trend for the second half of this year for live streaming? Secondly, it's on cash. So currently, I see as of second quarter of this year, we still have over 1 billion in terms of $1 billion of net cash. So how are we going to use this cash in the future? Thank you.
The year-over-year decrease in revenues was mostly due to the abnormally higher user activities and ARPU in the prior year period caused by the stay-at-home orders during the pandemic. In the second half of this year, to further stimulate our paying users' purchase willingness and enrich their consumption scenarios, we will continue to focus on monetization activities and products. Through our continuous focus on improving the engagement and consumption of our existing paying users, we hope to further elevate our ARPU. As to the cash on hand, we are focused on effectively using our strong balance of cash going forward. We will prioritize the sufficient allocation of cash to operational initiatives that drive the steady development of our game-related business. These initiatives include exploring strategic content upgrades more actively, developing new business segments, and continuing to invest in new growth drivers. For example, at the end of last year, we rolled out a strategic plan to further enrich the content on our platform. We also increased investments in non-esports game segments to attract new users. Finally, we escalated our R&D spending to further explore new monetization models, which was in line with our aim to make games a major monetization channel for our game-centric platform. On the other hand, we will take more initiative in the exploration of suitable investment and acquisition opportunities in our game-related segment, as well as downstream and upstream the esports value chain. Through these investments and acquisitions, we will expand the depth of our exposure to a wider range of industry segments and generate more synergies within our existing businesses. Thank you.
Thanks.
The next question comes from Thomas Chong with Jefferies. Please go ahead.
晚上好谢谢管理层接受我的提问。我有2个问题。第一个呢是针对我们最近就是跟虎牙那边的M&A 呢，就是因为反垄断就停止了。想问一下，就是未来的话对我们的运营会有什么的影响？然后我们之后作为一个独立的平台呢，可以分享一下我们的战略嘛？然后第二个问题呢，就是看到现在的竞争格局了，如果现在就是看到这个 M&A 就是 cancel 了，会否看到未来的竞争格局会越来越 Thanks, management, for taking my questions. I have a question relating to the launch of the M&A with DOYU. What should we expect the cancellation of the deal to our operations? And can management comments about our business strategy as an independent platform? And the second question is relating to the competitive landscape. How should we think about the competition? Is it going to be more intense after the merger is cancelled? Thank you.
是这样，就是刚才提到的两个问题，然后第一个问题呢提到了关于这个反垄断的这个监管的这个结果，因为在过去几年里面，这个国内的这个互联网一直处于一个高速发展的这个过程，然后相关的政策和法规也在逐渐的完善过程中。针对反垄断的这个监管呢，我们认为这是国家希望推动整个互联网行业朝着更加健康的方向进行发展。所以呢，各个互联网平台可以更加公平和良性竞争。所以呢，对于充分尊重这次监管的决定，然后积极配合监管要求，依法合规的进行运营，并且对于也一直是独立经营和独立决策的，然后而且独立发展的公司。因此，反垄断局的这次决定不会对斗鱼目前的这个运营状况和财务状况造成重大的不利影响。另外，斗鱼作为一家独立运营的和管理的公司，管理层将继续保持稳定，一如既往的在拓展游戏产业的上下游产业链的这个影响力，持续深耕直播，然后之后还有视频和图文等内容的这种社区生态。除了在传统优势的这个电竞领域继续保持领先外，然后在非电竞游戏也将加强运营，并逐渐扩大增长，建立以游戏为核心的这样一个内容生态平衡。第二个的问题呢，就是关于竞争格局的话，在2季度以来，我们看到的游戏直播领域整体竞争的格局并没有发生明显的变化。从整个行业没有这个恶性挖角之后，然后游戏直播行业一直处于保持一个良性竞争，并且呢，我们基于我们完善的头部和中长尾主播的这个体系，从直播内容和优质主播资源这两方面都建立了一个较高的壁垒，所以我们一直保持行业的这个领先位置。然后斗鱼平台呢，也几乎围绕着游戏进行更加全面的内容扩展和社区建设，发展新的这个用户。一方面呢，斗鱼除了继续积极的与传统优势的电竞游戏厂商合作之外，也在全力加强与其他游戏厂商的这个合作。在非电竞游戏不仅努力做到全覆盖，而且针对非游戏更加适合图文视频观看的这个特点，尤其在鼓励直播视频和社区功能的联动，加强游戏从测试到成熟期的全周期的这个运营，加强用户和平台内容创作之间的互动性，然后逐渐打造独立的优质内容，继续保持国内领先的以游戏为核心的这样一个综合社区的位置。
Okay, thank you for your question. So since the rapid development of the domestic internet industry over the past few years, so the authority have gradually improved the industry policy and regulation as well. So we believe that the antitrust regulations are in line with the government's goal of promoting positive and fair competition among the internet industry participants, and thus to encourage a level playing field across the industry. Therefore, DOYU fully respect this regulatory decision, actively cooperate with the regulatory requirements, and operate in compliance with the law. DOYU has been an independently operated and managed company since its inception. As a result, so we don't expect the decision will to prohibit our proposed merge with DOYU by SAMR, which stands for the State Administration for Market Regulation of the People's Republic of China, to have a material impact on our operational and financial performance. As an independently operated and managed company, we will make continuous effort to maintain our steady growth momentum and also expand our content ecosystem, both on upstream and downstream, to cover each link of esports industry value chain. In addition to bolstering our industry leadership in the traditional esports live streaming industry, we will continue to fortify our operations in non-esports segments to accelerate our growth and cultivate a game-centric content ecosystem on our platform. The second question. So the game live streaming industry competitive landscape have not changed significantly since the second quarter of 2021. Since the streamers were barred from moving between the platforms, competition and the industry has remained pretty healthy. So on top of this, our premium top and mid-tier, also the long-tail streamer resource have helped us to create a strong competitive advantage in terms of both content and number of premium streamers. So therefore, enabling us to continuously maintain our industry leadership. So we have increased our focus on leveraging our unique competitive advantage to create more game-centric content, and also build esports content community to attract new users. In addition to our continued effort in actively cooperating with traditional esports game developers, we have left no stone unturned in expanding our collaboration with other games developers. In our non-esports segment, we have not only covered the entire industry value chain, but also reinforced our leading position as a game-centric and community-based platform in China. So this achievement is primarily attributable to our execution of operation initiatives based on the unique feature of non-esports games, such as user performances for graphic tasks and video content. Our initiative included encouraging live streaming, video, and community function integrations. So strengthening our operations for the full life circle game, enhancing platform interactions between user and content creator, and also creating a high quality proprietary content. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
The next question comes from Richie Sun with HSBC. Please go ahead.
管理层晚上好，我有2个问题，首先就是2季度的销售费用的增长其实比较快，想问一下主要的原因是获客成本的提升吗？那目前我们主要的获客渠道是什么？将来的成本的趋势会是怎么样？然后第2个问题就想管理层可以再仔细讲一下2季度我们在日本市场的发展的进度吗？然后我们的变现的时间点在哪？ I will translate it myself. Thank you for taking my questions. So the first one is the sales and marketing expense was growing very rapidly in second quarter. Why is that? And what are the major traffic acquisition channels for us? And how would the traffic acquisition cost trend in the future? Second question is on, can you share our expansion progress in the Japanese market in more detail? And when will the monetization kick in? Thank you.
Sales and marketing expenses include staff salaries, channel promotion costs, esports team sponsorship fees, and expenses for online and offline activities. In the second quarter of 2021, the increase in sales and marketing expenses was primarily due to our promotional activities for new product functions and increased marketing budget to attract new users, which was in line with the development of our new business. Our primary promotional channels for user acquisition are through those advertising agencies associated with Tencent and its affiliates. We also leverage other newsfeed platforms and content libraries as additional user acquisition channels. And we are quite positive about development of the esports industry in the long run, and we will continue to increase our investments in esports related activities and esports team sponsorships going forward. Meanwhile, we will upgrade our product features to improve efficiency of our traffic conversion. We intend to continue enhancing our channel promotions. Therefore, in the future, we expect our sales and marketing expenses to remain at a relatively high level.
Let me answer your second question. During the second quarter of 2021, we continued to invest and explore in the Japanese market. For our Japanese live streaming platform, Mildom, we were able to maintain its market-leading position in product functionality and content general diversity. Driven by its high-quality content offerings, Mildom continued to quickly attract new users. According to the latest App Annie statistics, Mildom is one of the mainstream video game live streaming apps in Japan and maintains an industry leading user base in the country. In terms of future strategy, we will continue to strengthen our monetization capabilities of Mildom in order to further solidify its leading position in Japan, and also expect to achieve better economies of scale in Japan. No more questions. Okay. Thank you again for joining us today. If you have any further questions, please free to contact us or request through our IR website. Thank you. Have a good day.
The conference is now concluded. Thank you for attending today's presentation. You may now disconnect.